Good morning, students. In the series of this accounting terminology, we are discussing more accounting terms, and the next is assets. Okay. So actually, बच्चों, anything which will be which will enable a business enterprise to get cash or a benefit in future is an assets. Take it may be cash, it may be bank balance, stock, furniture, machinery, land and building, bills receivable, money owing by debtors, etc. All these are the assets. Okay. So, or you can say whatever which is in the possession of the business or is the property of the business enterprise, including the amounts due to it from others, means the amount which has to be received from the debtors. All these are the assets. Okay. So assets can be classified in the following categories. That is, number one, that is non-current assets. So all the assets that cannot be converted into cash within a period of 1 year. Okay, that is called non-current assets. So non-current assets refer to those assets which are held for continued use in the business for the purpose of producing goods and services and not mean for sale. ठीक है. Actually non-current assets बच्चों, these are the assets which the business purchase for its own use. Suppose business is purchasing machinery, the machinery will be used in the business for manufacturing the products. Okay. Some examples are also given here. Non-current assets are long-term investments and fixed assets such as land and building, plant and machinery, computer, motor vehicles, furniture, etc. So in short, I should say that machinery and buildings and furniture and all these assets are the long-term assets which gives a benefit to the business for a long period of time. And these assets are not meant for sale, means business has purchased these assets not for selling it. Okay, so these are the non-current assets. Fixed assets are further classified into, that is tangible, the assets which can be touched, which can be seen. All these are the intangible assets like plant and machinery, computer, motor vehicles, furniture. All these assets can be seen and these can be touched. Okay. Intangible assets, the assets which cannot be seen, which cannot be touched, are the intangible assets. Okay. For example, with the help of patents, that is know-how, businessman is able to produce goods and his goodwill helps in attracting customers easily. So goodwill, copyright, patents, all these are the intangible assets. Okay. Next is current assets. So current assets are those assets which are meant for sale or which the management would want to convert into cash within 1 year. So all the assets which can be converted into cash within a period of 1 year are the current assets. Actually these are the assets which basically mean for sale, like goods है, stock है, ठीक है, and if the goods are sold on credit, so the debtors, they are also included in current assets. Okay. For example, debtors are expected to be converted into cash within a reasonable short period. Stock is continuously sold and bills receivable are also converted into cash. So basically all the assets that can be converted into cash within a period of 1 year, these are the current assets, and most of the current assets are made for sale. Okay. Now some fictitious assets, fictitious or nominal assets. Okay. Actually some expenditures, you can say, in the business which are done for a long period, and actually these are of a revenue in nature, but sometimes it is considered as what? It is considered as assets. So actually they are not the real assets, that's why they are called the fictitious assets. So these are the assets which cannot be realized in cash or no further benefit can be derived from these assets. Such assets include debit balance or profit and loss account, and the expenditure not yet written off such as advertisement expenses etc. तो profit and loss account means if there is a debit balance of profit and loss account, तो it is shown in the liabilities side, है ना? It is so shown in the asset side, or these are the not, actually this is a loss, it is not an assets, and it is not written off or it is shown in the asset side of the balance sheet. ठीक है, तो these type of items are the fictitious assets. Next point is capital receipt and revenue receipt. Okay, it is also necessary to make proper distinction between capital receipt and revenue receipt, because the revenue receipts are shown in the credit side of trading and profit and loss account, whereas the capital receipts are shown in the balance sheet either as increase in liability or as reduction in the values of assets. Okay, means the item which is of capital nature, it will be shown in the balance sheet, and the item which is in the nature of revenue, it will be shown in the trading or profit or loss account. ठीक है, तो some examples of capital receipts are amount received from the sale of fixed assets or investment, this is the capital receipt, and capital contribution by proprietors, partners, or money obtained from issue of shares and debentures of a company. Okay, this is a capital receipt. And amount received by way of loans, this is also capital receipt. And some examples of revenue receipt are also given here: money obtained from sale of goods, commission and fees received for services rendered, interest and dividend received on investment. Actually, capital received, when we do some day-to-day activities, recurring activities, so for this we generate revenue receipt, है ना? If you are suppose raising loans from banks, so this is not a regular activity, or we are getting funds from the bank and we have to pay it back to the bank. This is a capital receipt. Okay. Now next one is expenditure. Any disbursement of cash or transfer of property or increasing a liability for purpose of acquiring assets, goods or services is called expenditure. It means that any type of payment for receipt of benefit is termed as expenditure. देखिए यहाँ पर बिल्कुल क्लियर है बच्चों, any, it means that any type of payment for the receipt of benefit is termed as expenditure. Means हम कोई benefit अगर ले रहे हैं, if you are taking any benefit and we have to pay for this, so this is called expenditure. तो expenditure may be classified into three categories, that is capital expenditure, revenue expenditure and डेफर्ड रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर. तो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर मीन्स अगर हम कुछ कैपिटल जनरेट कर रहे हैं, कोई एसेट्स परचेज कर रहे हैं, कोई फंड रेज कर रहे हैं थ्रू शेयर्स और डिबेंचर्स, या इफ यू आर टेकिंग लोन फ्रॉम द बैंक एंड वी आर मेकिंग सम एक्सपेंडिचर, दीज आर द कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर. तो एनी एक्सपेंडिचर विच इज इनकर्ड in acquiring or increasing the value of fixed asset is termed as capital expenditure, such as the amount spent on the purchase or erection of building, plant, machinery, etc. is capital expenditure. Such expenditure yields benefit over a long period and hence written in assets. Okay. Now the revenue expenditure. Any expenditure the full benefit of which is received during one accounting period is termed as revenue expenditure, such as the cost of goods sold, salaries, rent, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चार्जेस एक्सेट्रा. जो एक पर्टिकुलर ईयर में, दैट इज़ फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल टू 31 मार्च, ये हमारा एक अकाउंटिंग ईयर हो गया. इस ईयर में अगर हम कुछ एक्सपेंडिचर्स करते हैं, लाइक वी आर पेइंग सैलरी टू आवर एम्प्लॉयज़ एंड वी आर पेइंग फॉर द रेंट एंड स्टेशनरी, ऑल दीज आर द एक्सपेंडिचर. वो ऐसे एक्सपेंडिचर हैं जो दैट हैज़ टू बी डन विद इन अ पीरियड, वन अकाउंटिंग पीरियड. ठीक है, अगर आपने देखा वी आर परचेजिंग अ मशीन, तो ये तो मशीन तो इट गिव्स बेनिफिट फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड. एंड ये जो बेनिफिट देगी मशीन हमें फ्यूचर में कई ईयर्स तक हमें बेनिफिट देगी. तो दिस इज़ कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर. रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर 1 ईयर के होते हैं. ठीक है, तो आप डिफरेंसेस में फिर आराम से समझ सकते हो कि डिफरेंस दोनों में क्या है. एक लॉन्ग पीरियड के लिए, एक शॉर्ट पीरियड के लिए है. ठीक है, और एक जो है बैलेंस शीट में शो होगा, दूसरा रेवेन्यू जो है वो P&L या ट्रेडिंग में शो होगा, ठीक है। इस तरह के डिफरेंसेस अभी हैं, अभी हमने आपको इसके बारे में ऊपर बताया। ओके, नेक्स्ट इज डेफर्ड रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर। तो देयर आर सर्टेन एक्सपेंडिचर विच आर रेवेन्यू इन नेचर बट द बेनिफिट ऑफ विच इज लाइकली टू बी डिराइव्ड ओवर अ नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स, ठीक है। आपने एक बार में कोई एक्सपेंडिचर कर दिया है ना, सपोज यू आर पेइंग फॉर एडवर्टाइजमेंट एंड यू आर पेइंग अ वेरी बिग अमाउंट फॉर दिस एंड इट गिव्स बेनिफिट फॉर यू फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। तो वैसे तो इसका नेचर रेवेन्यू है, ठीक है, बट ये एक आपको बेनिफिट फ्यूचर में काफ़ी ईयर्स तक देगा, ठीक है। तो इसको आप इट इज़ टर्म्ड एज डेफर्ड रेवेन्यू, बिकॉज इसको हम एसेट साइड में शो करते हैं फिर बैलेंस शीट बनाते टाइम, और उसका एक पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन एवरी ईयर वी टेक इट टू द डेबिट साइड ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट, और उसके बाद हम वहाँ से इसको राइट ऑफ करते हैं। ओके, तो इस तरह से जब एक्सपेंडिचर अल्टीमेटली जाता है वो प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में ही है, बट कई सालों में हम उसको धीरे धीरे राइट ऑफ करते हैं, ठीक है। तो इस तरह के अगर कोई एक्सपेंडिचर होता है विच इज़ ऑफ रेवेन्यू इन नेचर बट इट इज़ ट्रीटेड एज कैपिटल एंड इट इज शोन इन द बैलेंस शीट, तो दिस टाइप ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर इज कॉल्ड डेफर्ड रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर। ओके बच्चों, तो हमने यहाँ तक ये कुछ चीज़ें की हैं, आगे टर्म्स हम आपको नेक्स्ट वीडियो में कराएंगे। ओके, अदरवाइज़ वीडियो बड़ी हो जाएगी, है ना। अभी आप ये वाली टर्म्स इसको अच्छे से पढ़ लीजिएगा। ओके, थैंक यू।